In this video I will be revealing to you my crypto portfolio going into 2024. I assume there's no introduction needed on the significance of this, so let's just get into it. Make sure to smash the like and subscribe button, trust me you don't want to miss what's coming in this new year. For a quick taste just watch the rest of the video, you'll see what it is we do around here. Okay, first is Bitcoin and ETH. 20% a piece, meaning 40% of my crypto portfolio this bear market has gone toward the blue chips. My average entry for the two is in the 18,000s and 1200s respectively. My allocation to the two is something I'd been screaming about since early this year. If you've been following me on TikTok or Twitter you should already be aware of this. I'm guessing there's no real reason to expand on BTC and ETH. You're already aware of all there is to know. So let's tap into the altcoins where the real fun is at. So this first category of altcoins are my base, they're what anchor down my portfolio. It's where my fattest allocations are. It should be no surprise that like a lot of other, Solana is my biggest altcoin bag, coming in at 15%. Again, I don't want to expand too much on Sol, it's already self-explanatory. My average entry for Sol is around sub $15 when considering all my DCA buys. Go check out my I bought the bottom video to see how exactly I was buying Sol throughout this bear market, and why I was allocating so heavy at the $12 and sub $10 levels. I know it may sound super convenient to say that with Sol having bottomed there, but we expand on why we bought there, where those principles can still apply quite well if you still think we're due for a big leg down. With Sol smashing $100 recently, that's a decent 6 to 7x. Obviously nothing to joke about, those are solid gains. That said, I've not taken profits yet, but I'll make videos on my price targets for where I aim to sell Sol and other cryptos, so make sure to be subbed for that. But a little teaser is a $300 to $400 Sol is where I start taking heavy profits, but again we'll flesh into this with great detail soon. I apologize for the lack of uploads recently. I've actually gone on vacation, which you may be aware of if you were following me on Twitter at Pain of Crypto. I'll leave a link to it in description. But it has to do with my thesis of doing nothing this time of the cycle. I'm assuming most of you have allocations, and especially my followers for sure. I understand you may have 10 to even 50% on the sidelines in cash, which yes, you know, work to buy dips and such. But for the most part, if you bought all of these assets at lows like Sol, AVAX, Link, you name it, just chill out, go enjoy yourself, set it and forget it until I'd say the ETF date, which is exactly what I'm doing, but I felt it had been a while since I posted, so here I am. Okay, next up we got another altcoin that's tied with Sol as my biggest altcoin allocation at 15%. I made some more small DCA purchases even up until now, literally the day I'm uploading this video. And that crypto, ladies and gentlemen, is bittensor. Yes, 15% of my portfolio has gone toward TAO. This is it. This is my dark horse this cycle. The new project, new narrative I'm banking on to make me the fattest gains this bull. The project that'll make me an unfathomable amount of money or literally burn it all to zero. The thesis is simple. Artificial intelligence is my bet for this bull. I feel the AI pumps we've seen thus far will be microscopic compared to what's to come. In traditional markets I expect a general melting up across the board, but once the AI speculation takes over it'll lead to the grossest, most abysmal bubble we've ever seen. And so if that is the case, anything with AI will catch a strong bid. Exposure is key. And as you can tell with the 15% to TAO, I may even be a bit too exposed, but that's okay. Again, this is my go big or go home play of this cycle. The greatest characteristic of TAO is that it has no ceiling, there is no end. Just like Bitcoin has no ceiling, there's very few assets out there who are limitless. Even ETH has a ceiling, like the market cap of Bitcoin for example. Whether it flips BTC or not is a totally different discussion, where you'd be asking can it break that ceiling, but it has a ceiling nonetheless. I don't think TAO has a ceiling, so in other words, can this thing literally get to $10,000 to $20,000? Yeah, it's possible. Now will I be waiting for those prices? Of course not. I'll be taking profits much earlier, where TAO will also be one of those I make a price target video on, so if you're not subscribed I don't know what you're doing. My average entry of TAO for a long time was around $80. It's since gone up quite a bit because I've been allocating into it these past weeks, even when it was over $200 and $300. My average now sits at $120 per TAO token. But remember, since TAO has such a high staking APY at around 17% on the lower end, it helps you get more tokens to then bring your average entry down. So for instance, if I put 10,000 into TAO at $100, that's 100 TAO tokens, but with a 17% yield, after a year, I will have 117 TAO tokens, but my investment was still 10,000. So 10,000 divided by 117 is now $85 per TAO token instead of 100. Okay, moving on, we got Link and Render sitting at 5% apiece. My average entry for Link is a little over $6, and considering just the amount of time we spent at that price point, this very well could go down as one of the easiest trades this cycle. If you were listening to those Twitter influencers like TraderXO or SC claiming a $2 to $3 Link, then I don't know what to say. It's kind of the same exact thing as Bitcoin at 16K with many waiting for 12. Where yes, it could go to 12K where if it does buy heavy, but if it doesn't, you'd have at least DCA'd well within the 16K zone. It may seem foregone at this point, but it's not. These exact ideas apply to the tops of the cycle, but just the inverse. Don't plan to sell every Link you hold, for example, at $100. Scale out along the way. And Render I like a lot because of the amount of narratives it bleeds into, with artificial intelligence and deep pin, which I guess both are kind of the same thing, but also gaming and the metaverse. A solid coin which I expect a clean 10 to 20x from with my dollar and change entry. But speaking of gaming and metaverse, IMX gets 3%, and again this one should be pretty self-explanatory. Probably the most efficient proxy to get exposure to all of gaming. Ton of stuff coming out next year, and I expect IMX to perform very well as a result. IMX is well in price discovery in terms of market cap already. 3 billion does feel relatively high, but it makes sense if it truly is a legitimate platform, which in that case much higher valuations should be achieved even from here. A lot like AI, if gaming is about to have its mega bull run, a gaming coin should realistically be in the top 10. Right now I feel IMX has the best chance of doing that, so you can crunch the numbers as far as what that means in terms of price. We then got Cetify Fund coming in at 2%. This project has been going extremely viral as of late, with everyone and their mother having talked about it this past month. But this was actually one of my very first token shills that I talked about back in February. My entry sits at around 90 cents. And is a project I plan to hold potentially even up to that $20 level. This is a great opportunity for me to now discuss the projects that I'm technically holding but not really. Gaming projects are one of my favorite to take profits on, more specifically take my entry out of. So for instance, Illuvium, which I accumulated between the $38 and $48 range, I've taken my entry out over the $100 level. What I mean by this is, let's say I invested $1,000 into Illuvium at $40. That would give me 25 tokens, and once we get to 100, I sold 10 tokens to give me my $1,000 investment back. I now officially own a moon bag of 15 Illuvium tokens that I've essentially invested $0 into. The reason I love doing this with gaming projects and other high-risk projects like in the AI niche is that as much as I love a project like Illuvium, for example, which we shilled back in August in our gaming video when it was still $48, I don't love it enough to have a decent percentage of my portfolio in. I feel it's too high risk. Illuvium likely does very well this cycle. It could be the mass adoption crypto game, which in that case holding 15 tokens could be more than enough to still get incredible gains, but at the same time it still is a single game that who knows may have a bad launch, or just not end up being that good, as remember Illuvium has always sort of been a highly anticipated game for many years now. If they stink it up, bag holders could get wrecked. And so I've done this moon bag sort of method with other crypto too, like Nakamoto Games, which was 40 cents when we made a video on it, having done a 5x since. Myria, I've taken the entry out Vulcan Forged as well, which has done a 3x since we made that buy now video. Tenet I've done it with, and a whole bunch of others, and I still plan on doing this with some others like Cypher Protocol, a cool stablecoin play. And also Pepe, which I believe still has a fat run ahead, so I'm holding out a bit. But I only recommend doing this takeout entry method if you have a larger portfolio. If you're someone that has a smaller portfolio, let's say under 10,000, then I'd say hold on to those precious tokens you have high conviction in, as in that case every token matters. Filecoin, Arweave, and Stratus, all storage deep-in plays, have 1% apiece. Injective and Celestia both have 2%. My proxy into the Cosmos ecosystem, which has been on fire lately, where my entries are not actually the best. I FOMO'd into Injective in this flag here at around $16 and Celestia at $7 here after realizing we were breaking out and not getting that pullback I had once wanted into this zone. But I'm okay with that. I feel one of these two will do very well, if not both. I'm talking 20 billion market cap plus, which I tweeted about saying could happen. So potentially still a 10x plus from here. Akash network has around 2.5%. This one was an extremely easy trade when it was under $1 with what I'd even say is a 20x potential up to $20. And then the following projects have around 0.5% in them being Rune, but this trade I messed up quite bad. I wanted Rune lower at around 60 cents, where if this thing got there it'd have been one of my larger bags, even up to 5%. I absolutely love Thor chain. I fleshed out my entire thesis in my Rune review back when it was $1.50, but I guess I should have taken my own advice. Trader Joe also still holding its my beta bet on AVAX, Veracity fetch agix, and a few more punt plays with some getting even as low as 0.1% like Qubic and Olas. I operate my investments based on high conviction which get fatter percentages, and then these low percentage punt plays. And I guess the third category being the moon plays, but those are free rides anyway. What will likely happen is many of these punts will become moon bags, but the high conviction stuff I don't touch until it's time to take profits. My next 2 videos will be this: how to take profits, in other words my exit strategy, and that could literally go down as my best video to date, just wait until you see that. And also what portfolio I'd make starting today for insane gains for those of you who missed the bottom. In fact, I'll make that video first, but remember I am away from home, so it might take a while, but until then remember what I said, take a seat back and enjoy the sea of green, you deserve it. Sign up to an exchange link below for all your trading and investing needs. It also helps support the content. Hit that like and sub button, and I'll probably see you legends in the new year, so happy holidays to you all. Bye now.